Thank you for all the love you guys have been given today over lunch. There's no place I'd rather be. Okay, we have a jam-packed afternoon. There's no doubt about it, and a jam-packed evening as well. Without further ado, my good friend, we're going to throw you a little curveball here, but he's got some things he wants to share with you. Mr. Jay Kubassek, come on up here.
Got it. All right, how was that lunch? It's pretty good, huh? All right, I want to give you guys a quick update on some of the stuff that we're working on, the funnels and offers and traffic and all that kind of stuff. But before I do that, I want to, Johnny, you want to come up? My brother Johnny here. He has another poem. He has a book of poetry that he has coming out. And some other really cool stuff that he's doing. Johnny's taken his story from the farm, from the Z28, the Z28, the crazy ride, the crazy wild childhood. See, what happened was we grew up in this like compound that was like so uber religious that basically sex education for us was going to the Britannica Encyclopedia and then going to the S section, which was stuck together with masking tape on the edges because it wasn't appropriate for unmarried people to know about, and carefully peeling that open and going through, the Britannicas and whatnot, and then carefully sealing it back and then putting it back on the shelf. That was pretty much, everyone did that. So what happened was the day he got his driver's license, he's like, I'm out of here with a cloud of smoke. And then he went out to explore who he's not. And he just, I think he learned a lot about himself and a lot about the world. And in 2003, I think it was, or 2002, is when we reconnected and were instantly best friends. Instantly. It was amazing. And so it was like a 10-year span where we never really talked, or we were just on completely different paths. But anyway, Johnny would like to read you another poem that he's got, and
we'll make it short. We'll make it short and sweet. Bottom line, after I left the farm and I went on my own exploration in my journey, I was a born rebel. I left when I was 16. I refused to listen to anybody and any opinions because I realized growing up, I was being channeled a lot of, dogma and filters through other people's minds. Became very sensitive to that, and of course refused to follow guidance, and therefore went out and just crashed into a lot of walls and had to learn the hard way. So through it all, I found that we all have like this internal guidance system, and if we really learn to just follow that guidance system, we can't go wrong. Set an intention and a path where you want to go, and it's kind of like turning on the headlights in the dark. You're going to drive from New York to California in the nighttime, but you only need to shine in front of you as far as you need to see to drive your car. So the bottom line is all of the turmoil and everything I put myself through, I did learn that there was an internal guidance system. So what I wanted to share with you today is a poem called No Mind. And it's a little fun, but here it is. I don't listen to my mind, and I won't listen to yours. What draws my attention, it's not easily heard. The sound of sweet nothing, I'd rather stay still. On this path that I wander at my own free will, I honor the feeling that guides me so strong. There's no sense that I'm making as it takes me along. I'm smashing through barriers, climbing some walls, through winding dark forests, and tremendous high falls. But back to the center, I always return. The way becomes clearer, and the road signs are learned. It's not seen from a distance. The path now is here. We travel together as love holds us near. Thank you.
When did you write that poem?
That was back in 2003.
And what were you dealing with right around then? What was the inspiration for that poem? Where were you in life? Right
Geez, Jay, basically on a path in my life at that point where I've gone through several major crises in my life. Basically went to the top in whatever field I was in, figured out that wasn't what I wanted to do, recreated myself, started over. So that was one of those cycles where what I thought was the right thing and where I figured that I should be, I ended up realizing it's not where I want to be. So where did I find answers? I just went inside, started to listen to that inner guidance, and it came through in a form of poetry. So a lot of this poetry has been inspired through my own searching and looking for answers, but refusing to go to organizations or establishments or back to my roots to find the answers. So inherently, this has been an experiment on how to live an empowered and a fulfilled life. So if we go to that inner guidance system, and it's actually quite a scientific process, we have a nervous system which will guide us. And when the truth is being spoken, or you feel truth, you have a resonance and a feeling inside. So when we speak about going inside and finding that inner guidance, it's really listening to your nervous system, listening to that vibration within your body, and you can't go wrong. There's a universal love, the energy that brings us all together, connects us as all as one. When we go to that place, we're on path, and it takes us to a greater plane as a human being.
So at what point what was the aha moment or the breaking point or the transition point where you went from this rebel hedonist to an enlightened entrepreneur? What was the transition? Because it was a very quick, short, from what I recall. What was the low point that prompted the...
Well, basically, whenever I've fallen off this path of inner guidance, I get depressed, and things became meaningless.
Just a little closer.
So the point is, like I said, always being a rebel, I refused to follow what the rules were and what the right and wrong things were. But I went through a process of discovering who I really am in terms of my archetypes. I discovered that I'm a rebel, so I'm going to embrace the rebel. I'm a hedonist, so instead of living in the shadow side of my hedonist character and personality, I moved to the light side. But don't deny who you really are. So it was really having those aha moments, a lot of reflection on myself and saying, okay, I can really accept myself for who I am. And from there, move forward with a higher vision. I see the theme here throughout the day is finding your highest vision of yourself. So that's basically what happened.
Guys, I think the takeaway here is, you've got all of these marketing partners who've been sharing their stories and their insecurities and their problems and their weak links. And here's an example of someone who, not in the internet world, but in the traditional brick and mortar world of engineering and architecture and construction, which is his industry, he is changing that industry. And in the last 5 years has made a huge dent in the trajectory of where that industry is going in Canada and in the U.S. and around the world. Because of this vision and because of the fact that he took these dark archetypes, these things that he was told as a kid. I mean, I remember my dad chasing him around the house with a belt, beating him because he was a rebel. He would not conform. He was a violent. He just.
They were feathered pillows.
He was terror. Yeah, and I was afraid of him. And every one of those things that everyone told him was wrong with him, he turned into an X factor that ultimately has led to him changing the course of an entire industry and building an incredibly successful multi-million-dollar group of companies. So,
well, I just have to say, like my latest venture, started up a company about 3 weeks ago, and we're going to hit over $1 million in sales the first. Within the next 6 months, but it's exporting prefab buildings to Ethiopia. And in the connection, it's got nothing to do with great product, excellent marketing and business sense. It was through a heart connection I made with some beautiful people from Ethiopia. And we connected at a heart level, built a trust, and they shared a vision of going back and doing something good in their country. And I said, well, I've got some ideas. I can work with you. And using street labor and children and young unemployed youth off the street, they're now able to take these buildings, put them together, and actually, we're creating a little industry over in Ethiopia with this process. But what it all boils down to is a heart connection through that vibration of universal love and really connecting with people at the heart.
And the way you can apply that in your business, what we talked about this morning, just be vulnerable, be yourself. Stop pretending to be an expert or a guru. Stop pretending to have figured it out, and just be yourself. You have permission to be yourself. We met a beautiful woman from Ethiopia a little earlier. What was her name? Adsa? Right here. And she said that one of her insecurities was that she's from Ethiopia and she wanted to be American, but she didn't know much about American pop culture and it fitting in. But her daughter, who is assimilated into American society, is absolutely proud of the fact that she's Ethiopian. But there's no reason that our family member here, she can't embrace being Ethiopian and wearing that on her sleeve and being proud of that and flying the Ethiopian flag wherever she goes and saying, you know what, hell yeah, I'm Ethiopian. And embracing who you are. And what happens is people relate to that part of you, that human part of you. And doors just open up that would never open up because you're operating at a deeper level. And that's exactly the way he builds his businesses. It's exactly what we're doing here at Pro. It's exactly what we're doing here at Summit Week coming up this December as well. So, I love you, man.
Hey, if you let me, I'll finish with one more poem.
Real quick.
This one's Beautiful You. I took the time to notice the calmness in your face. When did that heavy weight lift off like a memory erased? Haven't noticed them before. I know they've been there for a while. Glowing with the way you feel. Those wrinkle lines that hold your smile. Since when did those eyes glisten like a twinkle in the mirror? Those tears of joy you must have cried when love replaced your fear. Walking straight and standing tall, showing who you are, having courage to be real, your compassion reaches far. And now I see what draws you down the path you're strolling on. It's so good to see you shining as your heart leads you along. I love the way you give it. It's bringing so much energy. Your love for life and for yourself has set your spirit free.
Awesome. Thanks, man.